Now before we get started today, go ahead and raise your right hand. Everybody needs a promise. They will never ever try what I'm going to do to this poor cam bearing. Whether it works or not, don't do this. Everybody agree? You in the back? Okay, we're in agreement. And let's get started. Alrighty, this is the camshaft out of the truck. This is bearing number 1, bearing number 2. This would be the front of the engine where the timing gear goes on for this one. This is our issue. This oil groove is feeding the wrong side of the engine because the bearing was put in wrong. Here is my mock cam bearing for this demonstration, all right? This oil hole is on the bottom. It would be facing the crankshaft, basically, facing straight down. And it's what feeds oil into this oil groove. So we put that in place. We're gonna make it this one, so it's on the bottom. You can see what I'm doing. So that oil hole is now on the bottom in that groove, feeding this groove. Well, what somebody did to the second hole in mine is they put it on the passenger side where there is no passage up to the head. Now what should have happened is it should have been installed, again, this oil hole is our bottom oil hole. It should have been installed this way with this second hole facing up at about, I don't know, if you're looking at it, probably the 1 o'clock position towards the oil passage that's in the head, so I could feed the driver's side. See what I'm talking about? This is a good 30 to 40 degrees off where it needs to be. So it goes to nowhere. It basically deadheads this bearing. So it pressurizes the camshaft bearing itself, so it's not hurting the camshaft. However, no oil to the head. Now, let's go over to the engine. I really don't want to monkey with trying to pull these bearings out with the engine in the car. It would be easier if the crankshaft was out and I could get to everything. So that leads me to what I'm about to do. This is number 1 bearing. It looks the same as number 2 bearing, except it doesn't have as many holes in it. It's only got the one in the bottom. If this is number 2, it needs to get oil like this. And if you notice, that's not that far. This is the number 2. Here's the oil passage. My plan is to just go down and drill another hole in that bearing. So the big plan is I'm going to drill that passage out. Then I'm going to put the camshaft back in. After we put the camshaft back in, I'm going to put my drill back on the oil pump drive, and I'm going to run that drill. And I should get oil out of this hole right there. You should never ever do this, and there is lots of reasons not to do this. There's also lots of reasons not to put a magnet on the lifter that won't come out and leave it there. We're not going to talk about that. But this will work. I'm going to get a couple metal shavings. I'm going to change the oil. The damage is going to be minimal. This drill bit will work. It will get right to it. I know I can drill a hole in that bearing. Let's do this. Oil hole. I've already filled it up with some air tool oil, and I'm going to gently drill this out, hopefully. Ooh, I believe we're through. Oh yeah, we're definitely through. Red wire down through, and there it goes. This is the oil passage I needed to open up. We have now opened it. I can get oil to that driver's side cylinder head now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take a brush, small one, and clean out the edges of this, and I'll go through the cam bearing bores here, just very gently, like soft nylon brush. I'm not talking wire brush. I don't want to damage the bearings any more than I just did, but we're gonna clean it up and get all the metal shavings out as we can, because those will ruin bearings in a hurry. My plan has worked so far. My evil plan. So we've got some assembly lube for the bearings. Oh, this is old lube. Better than nothing. It's not Molly. I don't have Molly lube, sorry. For everybody out there looking for Molly lube. I have an older assembly grease that's probably 15, 20 years old. I just want to put it on here so I don't mar these bearings up. I know, the next thing you're asking is, how come he wasn't wearing vinyl gloves the whole time? So he kept his hands clean. I'll tell you exactly why. I forgot I had them, so there. But then I remembered that I had them when I opened a drawer looking for something else. And there they were. Close enough. Now, what I'm gonna do is put this right back in. This is front, number 1. Here's our problem child, oiling one. That's gonna go number 3. That's the one at the back. This is the gear for your distributor. So let's put all this back in. It's time to see if this worked. Keep an eye on this hole right here. Let's see what we get. Whoa. If you notice, that there is oil, black gold, Texas tea. That means I've got oil here. That means, as far as I'm concerned, this is fixed. In no way is that anything that you should do ever to a car that you care about the engine in. Is it gonna work long term? I don't know. Is it gonna work short term? You're darn right it is. I can't do anything else today. I don't have any head gasket kits, intake gaskets, nothing. So you can tune out. All I'm gonna do is clean the rest of this mess up. So, see you next time.